Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 119 of Perpetual Backlog podcast. I am your host, as always, Aqua, and joining me is the Perpetual fam, Dalit.
Hey.
And Leek.
Hello.
But joining us this week is a very special guest. We've have him on like pretty much I think it was like 3 or 4 times last year, and we'll have him on more this year. Lavren, our good old monster hunter boy.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem, man.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah, thanks for coming. We have a special episode this week. It's going to be a the good, the bad, and the ugly for Wild Hearts, the new Monster Hunter genre MMO, game to come out. Should have been an MMO. But first, we're going to talk about what we played. And since both Lav, me, and Dalit here have played Wild Hearts this week, we're going to go to Leek because she didn't play this week. So, Leek, what'd you play this week?
I played, for one, it's the 7-year anniversary of Stardew Valley.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So I was playing a lot of that, actually, last couple of days. I've also... Sorry, I'm eating.
No.
I'm eating, I'm sorry. I was like, oh, good, they're going to talk about games. Oh, shit.
Joke's on you.
Oh, really? Okay, yeah. I was playing more Skyrim with my Argonian called Duck, who looks like a duck, the best I could. Yeah, I stumbled on a talking dog, which was interesting.
Okay.
Yeah, and I was like, wait, how can you talk, little doggy? And he was like, well, this is a world full of magic and dragons, and you're surprised that a dog can talk? And I was like, fair enough, doggy. He was like, follow me, I need you for a quest. And I was like, okay.
Little Timmy fell down a well.
No, he led me into like a den of vampires. I was like, oh, thanks, I hate it. And like at the end of the like this cavern system, I suppose it's like a den. There was this statue of a Daedra, which is like a god, an evil devil god, I suppose, right?
Yeah, the Daedric Lords.
Yeah. They apparently had a tiff with this talking dog. They used to be best buds, and they had, after a falling out, the god statue was like, why did you bring him here? I've had enough of that. Get him out of my sight. And then it's like, wait a second. I'm stuck in this statue, and I want to be free. Maybe I'll become friends with the dog again if you help me escape. I was like, sweet, that's nice.
You can't trust the Daedric Lords. You're not allowed to do that. That's how you end up as a talking dog.
I know. Me, Kim. Yes, I agree. But Duck's a good boy.
Oh, poor Duck. He's too good for this world.
Not too bright. He's like, I want to help the talking dog. Okay. So yeah, I have to find this magical axe, and the god promised he won't, sunder me. So that's nice of him. So yeah, if I do the thing, then that'll work out. This was just after actually going to, where is it? Falkrum?
Yeah,
I can't remember the name. Falkrum, yeah. There was this Jarl who wanted help, and they'd promised me like a place to stay and stuff. I was like, oh, awesome, that's nice of them. I'll help them. So I go to Falkrum, and they were like, yes, so I'm really lazy, and I want you to murder this person that I used to have a deal with, but now they're useless and trying to scam me out of more money. And, even though everything, all the coins being, exchanged into the table, as so to speak, I just don't want anyone to find out about it. So if you could do this in incognito, that'd be great. Cheers.
Congratulations, Duck's now a hitman.
And then, yeah, Duck's now a hitman. He left the Jarl's house and went and thought to himself, I don't think he's a very nice man.
Could be right.
Wait a second. oh no. And then I looked around. So, well, at least this is a nice place to live. There's a pretty area. It's like green. It's like the weather's nice and rainy. You know, as a marsh friend, he quite likes that type of environment.
Well met.
Yeah. And then an NPC walked past me and said, "Oh, I hate your kind." It's like, oh,
Oh,
oh no.
Oh, you love to hear it. I mean, you don't, but that is such great comedic timing. It seems
Oh
like
my
such a lovely
God.
place. Racism. Oh,
Yeah.
maybe
So that's
not.
my current adventures in Skyrim.
Absolutely brilliant.
And I downloaded PUBG.
What
we
was
told
that?
you not to. We told you not to leak.
Yeah, I was peer pressured.
Have you imbibed any of it? Is it too late for you? Can we not save you?
Well, funny enough, I've not actually gotten to play it yet because maintenance came round. I was like, oh well, what a
Absolutely
shame.
fantastic.
As a sign.
The whole world, including PUBG itself, is saying don't do it.
Don't do it. Oh god. Yeah, so yeah, it can't be as bad as Fortnite, right? Fortnite's fun, actually, surprisingly.
Worse than Fortnite. Worse.
Like, I know nothing about guns, and like my American friends were like, "Oh yeah, you can get this and this and this, and this is a good one." And I was like, "Okay, the long one shoots far away. The short one is better for close range. This one goes pew pew. That's cool. I don't know."
I mean, yeah, that's the broad strokes of it, actually.
I need the green box for this weapon. I need the yellow box for this weapon. I'll ignore the numbers.
The numbers might actually end up being important, but hey, as long as you have fun.
I probably won't. I'll probably play
Yeah.
it one time and then uninstall it, honestly. Let's be real.
Well, that's what you probably thought about Fortnite, wasn't it?
Well,
Mhm.
actually, I haven't installed it only because I don't have room on my computer for other games. So
No,
it's all,
fair
it's
enough,
all
fair.
like, you know, trying to sort out what game I can have at one time. I'll install it again if I come around to playing it again. That kind of thing. I'm doing that with Elden Ring too. I wanted to play, you know, my Yeehaw MMO. Relaxing horse time. Just riding around the map. Still very relaxing. I can't have that and Skyrim and Fortnite and whatever it is. I don't know. And Elden Ring. I can't have all them at the same time. I need to buy more memory. So Lavren, when you get around to getting more SSD cards and stuff, tell me where you buy them from.
Don't worry about that.
That is a fair comment.
And that's my story.
That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Did you play anything else this week, Charlotte?
No, I didn't. As a matter of fact.
Okay. I played a little bit of one other game, and I'm just gonna sum it up as I played Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga, and that's all I'll say because everybody knows Lego Star Wars games are great. So,
Yeah, genuinely though.
what about you, Lav?
I played Metroid Prime Remaster.
Ooh.
I have heard nothing but good things about that game.
Yeah, it's
And
great.
I was afraid it was going to be a bit of a rush job, or but something they're just putting out to cover for not having, Metroid 4 out yet. But it seems like this was a very competent, well done.
I mean, they are putting it out just to cover for Prime 4 not.
Oh
releasing.
no, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but no, right? I mean, I played Prime 1 when I was a kid. Like I bought it day one and everything. I hadn't played since that time, but revisiting that game and not really remembering a lot of this, like a lot of the item locations and kind of being lost for a little bit was fun. The game looks gorgeous. I still don't understand how they made it look that nice on a Switch. That's really cool.
Yes.
It does kind of, I mean, the frame rate fluctuates, but it can reach 60 in a number of spots, so that was surprising. the game with the remaster was built off of the Wii version, um, and that includes the really, really horrible thermal visor that they used for the Wii version because it looks awful. It hurts
Mm,
everybody's eyes. Like
eyes, yeah.
it's really bad. But I mean, aside from that, I mean, it's still Prime One remaster. I finished the entire game my first time playing it. The remaster. I finished it 100%, and then I went back and played it on hard mode after you beat normal mode, and then did it 100% again in like half the time, and unlocked all the artwork, all the music, and everything. And oh my god, the artwork! Jesus,
So,
man.
how long till the 100% speed run?
Ugh, I already uninstalled it. I need room for Tears of the Kingdom.
True, true.
Yeah, I bought Breath of the Wild while it was on sale during the last direct or whatever where they showed Tears
On
of the Kingdom on
sale,
it.
no such thing. Don't be silly.
Yeah, yeah, for real. And I bought it and I have it installed. I had never played it, so I'm excited to actually get around to that. But that
Oh,
I'll
I hope you
start.
enjoy it.
I hope so too, because I haven't played a Zelda game in a long time, and I never really had interest in the other games that came out, and I didn't have an interest in Breath of the Wild at all for the longest time. And then when they made Tears of the Kingdom and started showing it off, I was like, okay, you got something going there. That catches my eye. That's a lot more serious looking and a much better tone than what Breath of the Wild was when it was advertised.
Yeah.
So it has my attention. So now I'm like, I might as well just play Breath of the Wild and segue into the second game
Sure.
just for it to feel better. So I am really excited for Tears of the Kingdom, and I'm not going to be playing Breath of the Wild until like April, roughly.
Keep it close then. Fair, fair.
Yeah, I hopefully will be able to play Wolong Fallen Dynasty when it comes out soon, and uh, and by the time that I finish that game, it'll probably be more than likely be before RE4 remake comes out because that's the end of March, and
That's the real video
Wolong
game.
is the third. Yeah, exactly. So once RE4R comes out, I'm gonna be getting that and 100%ing it and everything. And
Every which
after
way from
that,
Sunday.
yeah, after that's done, it's straight to Breath of the Wild, so I can finally play that game, and then it just kind of leads into something else, and then Tears of the Kingdom, and I think there was another game that I was interested in too around that time, but I really can't remember right now. And then of course Street Fighter.
Are you
When that comes out later.
interested in interested in Jedi Survivor?
Yes,
Was that it?
yes. I don't remember I didn't know that game, the release date for that
It's
game.
April. It's April.
Okay. Well then, yeah,
Oh.
that'll tide me over for sure. I got the platinum for Fallen Order or whatever, and I
Mhm.
loved that. That game was chef's kiss.
Yeah,
That
I
was
love.
just
Yeah.
Star Wars through and through for me, man. Music and everything was top tier, primo music and everything.
Mhm.
Oh my god. I like
Combat was really good. So
Yeah,
good.
combat was surprisingly great, man. I was really, really into it. It was awesome. And the
Yeah, I
ending,
mean. Oh
whew,
yes. Oh,
the
dude.
ending, I was like,
Vader.
wait, what? Huh?
I
I
saw
gotta
the
get
ending.
out.
Yeah, that
I
was
gotta get
good.
out of here. Running from
Really
my damn
chases you.
life.
It's menacing.
Yeah, they did a really good job with that.
Yeah.
I can't wait for the second game.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
know.
man.
They
Yeah.
had some details. They had some details come out for the second game this past week, and
Mhm.
I mean, it's a good thing you're playing Breath of the Wild because they did say that they've put in some Breath of the Wild-esque puzzles.
Oh, good.
So you'll either depending on which one you play first, you'll get some experience in doing those puzzles.
What day in April is Jedi is my Star Wars?
Was it
Is it
the
Jedi
18th?
Yeah, I think it was like legitimately like no, the 28th actually.
20th.
Oh, I got
Okay.
plenty of time for Breath. Oh, I'm gonna finish Breath of the Wild
Yeah.
way before that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be good then. Be
Yeah,
perfect.
end of April, yeah. Yeah. I mean, Jedi Fallen Order is like pretty much the think the best EA game to come out in quite a while.
Yeah,
For
real.
And speaking of EA games, that's a game we're going to be that's a issue we're going to be talking about today.
Yeah.
Because our topic is Wild Hearts, and we're going to be talking about the good, the bad, and the absolutely abhorrent in this game. And we'll
There are
go in
strong
that
feelings
order.
at play.
Yeah, we'll go in that order. Sorry, Leak, since you've not had any like really interaction with this game. This is going to be a very long talking point. We do have a question from Little, but we're gonna save that towards like the last half or whatever, because we do have another topic to talk about towards the end, and his question actually goes and correlates with that. So
Yeah.
all right.
If you had any interest in playing Wild Hearts, the everything after good is probably going to be visceral. Is what it's going to be. It's not. It's bad. It's very bad.
Hey guys, don't forget to sub to the channel if you're into what you're hearing. While you're down there, remember to like the video as much as we like you. You'll be good now.
We're gonna preface this, all right? The three of us here that have played Wild Hearts, we enjoy Wild Hearts. It is an enjoyable video game. It has a really good foundation. There is some. This might actually just be the good and the ugly or whatever, because anything after, like you said, anything after good is kind of just bottoms out at fucking rock bottom there. But we'll start with good. I mean, one of the only good things I can like actually full on say that immediately comes to mind for this game is the ability of like the whole drop in drop out like multiplayer that can be happening in this. It's way more streamlined than what Monster Hunter has done, or at least that I've played.
For these segments, by the way, I'll let you guys talk first before I got the things.
Oh yeah, no, don't worry.
I'll be waiting.
I love the drop in drop out aspect of the game. It's a lot easier to do, like I said, than Monster Hunter was. You have to menu a lot with Monster Hunter. I honestly love how open the areas are. It gave me the same feeling as going into the first area of World, where this place is fucking gigantic. It feels lived in at least a little bit.
Yeah.
More than a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it does a good job with it.
And I generally I love almost all the weapons that I've played. They seem actually pretty well made. I mean, you guys, Dalit can probably talk a little bit more on his good, because I know he pointed out some stuff earlier.
I mean, I think you've hit the nail on the head. For me, the most impressive thing, bar none, was the world. I think it comes with some of its own negatives, but genuinely, the large open spaces are very impressive. The flow, and it allows for a very interesting flow state of hunting, because obviously you don't have to go back to a hub and then re-up and then go again, which for veteran Monster Hunter players has become second nature. So we don't even necessarily think that's a negative. But I know for a lot of newer folks, like, this is going to be really good. You can just keep going. It was something that happened in Monster Hunter World, obviously, with the idea of just going back to camp and then chatting to the handler. But we saw a regression of sorts in Rise, because they could only do so much. And this was nice to have again. I do agree that the weapons are very good. I've admittedly only played two of them. I've played the longsword, the katana, and the staff.
I played
because oh boy, let me tell you, the moment I got that staff, them big numbers, I love to see them.
Yeah, you can hit damage cap with it very easily.
It's
very cool.
For those that care, the world also lends itself to world building and I guess a better story than Monster Hunter, but I wouldn't call it great. Being better than
Same.
Monster Hunter, I don't think that that's a high bar, but I don't think you're winning any awards off this.
Nope.
But it looks beautiful. Like having actual buildings in there that you can interact with, having the various different scale things. Sometimes that's a pain in the ass, but in general, just like looking at it and perceiving and having that first feeling of the game, that was pretty cool. And it goes to scale. Is there are there other goods? I mean, when the game is running well, it feels really nice.
True. Very true.
After hearing that this was being made by the Tokenin crew and remembering trying out Tokenin however many years ago, it did feel like a pale comparison of Monster Hunter. They might have done a lot of things differently, but the fact of the matter is the weapon hits didn't feel meaty. Everything felt a little too fast and floaty. This does better. It feels impactful when you make contact. And that sounds little, but when the whole game is go and hit a big thing, yeah, it's like fighting games. You want the hit stop, you want it to feel visceral and meaty. Being able to set up your own camps is nice.
Yes.
Yeah, once you're able to get down certain patterns of monsters, it's something that I think a lot of people have talked about in Monster Hunter for a while. And turns out, yeah, no, it's pretty great. I am running low on good things to say. I've put in an awful lot of time for this to be it.
Voice acting?
Yes.
Oh, voice
okay.
acting is actually pretty good, yeah.
So, this will probably be hit or miss depending on who you are as a person. But I think the voice acting in this is wonderful. It makes liberal use of actual Japanese actors, not just people putting on a really questionable accent. And you can tell from a lot of the actors, some of them are English as a second language, some of them are not. And it does feel authentic to the world they're creating because it's very obviously Japan. They call it not Azuma. Yeah, Azuma.
Yeah.
But this is Japan, samurai and feudal wars, and it's populated by the Japanese, and it feels great in that. It feels super authentic in that regard. I mean, if you're big into storytelling and cutscenes, those are nice. But I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm not here for that. I skip
a lot of dialogue actually. It's interesting enough, but it's not like, I mean, when it comes to Monster Hunter and games or whatever, like some like World and Rise, I paid attention to the story like a little bit or whatever, but I was just like, I'm here to fuck up some monsters, man. I don't you can just give me a list of monsters and I'm good.
Yeah, pretty much. I can't even really go into combat and everything because I think there's too much of it's good, but for me to just firmly put it into the good category. I genuinely think that's it for like truly outstanding work. I mean, the music's quite nice, according to a lot of people. It's so fitting to the world. I kind of tune it out, but not in a negative way. Like it's part of the package.
Yeah, music is actually very good in that game.
Yeah.
There's no there was no defining piece of music that I
was consistently waiting to hear. Okay, what's your proof of a hero though?
Yeah, I know. I haven't heard it. So actually, to preface this up with Lavren, I have actually just beaten Amaterasu, and Dalit is on the quest for it. So that's
pretty much where you hear it.
Oh,
where you
hear
okay. You hear their proof of a hero at the tail end when you're winning against Amaterasu.
Oh, okay.
So they at least use it correctly. Good.
You do get to hear it. Yeah, you do get to hear some like the main theme, I guess you'd call it. And at the end of the game, you do get to hear it again too, or if not, a different. It might be a different song. I can't remember. I actually really can't remember. But I do remember that I was like, "Oh, this is wonderful." Like the music is very good.
Okay, because the Minato theme that plays is very good. But I kind of, when I'm out in the world, I'm so distracted by so many other things.
Oh, you'll
That
definitely hear it. Yeah,
okay,
you'll definitely you'll be caught by it when you hear it for sure.
fantastic. Because
Yeah, I
Alcatraz,
definitely
listen to me go. I'm just waiting to hear the big theme. What is
Yeah,
it?
I definitely remember hearing something in that fight or whatever, but I was also kind of like, like my eye candy of Amaterasu, like throwing fucking gigantic light circles at my face, and I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't have the armor to really actually do that fight. My friend who's already beaten the game or whatever was with me, and she kind of like honestly
Yeah.
bullied the hell out of that bird. Um,
That's what I do with everybody else too. Is going through it.
I had to go back in. I had to go back in to do it just so I could get the inspiration for the Karakuri.
Yeah.
Cause she destroyed it so fast. I was like, oh god. um. But yeah, I mean, like, I enjoy building stuff. I think the building stuff is actually really nice. I'd like to do more of that and like or that type of esque stuff in Monster Hunter.
So I like the dragon category.
Yes, that's what I mean. I don't the fusion and the basic stuff. I can kind of take or leave on that one.
Yeah, that's a bit 50-50 for me. But the dragon category, yes.
Yes, I do agree with that. But that's the extent of like the good that I can immediately come off the my brain. I love the fast paced combat. I do like how fast paced it is. But that's where I stop at.
Yeah, I don't know about that last one for me, but we'll see. Hey, guess whose turn it is? Go deep, go ham.
Okay. Character creation is fantastic in that game.
Oh yes.
Fuck yeah. Oh, I heard actually first of all, I heard people complain. I'm sorry. I heard people complain that they just ripped like the Neo 2 character creator and used it, and I sat here and was like, "What's the problem with that? The Neo 2 character creator was fucking great."
Yeah, I was trolling. I was trolling around the dregs of the discussion threads of Steam, and I saw repeated
sorry.
threads. Yeah, no, I don't recommend this. Anyone who thinks that Reddit is the worst of the internet, oh boy, oh boy. But I was just curious, and I saw multiple threads of this character creator is just Neo. What the fuck? I'm like, Neo 2's character creator was actually kind of amazing. Hold on now, why is that an insult?
Yeah, the character creator has some really nice things. My only gripe about it is that you can't save appearance data. That's
Yeah.
basically it.
Yeah, that's fair.
So the character creator is great. It's really cool. You can also pick your pronouns at the end too.
Yep.
That's also neat. Music is fantastic. There was not a single track that I disliked when I was playing the game. The cutscenes that involve like your character, like the action scenes and whatnot, are pretty cool. Some of them are way cooler than others.
Yeah.
The final boss fight was a beautiful kind of spectacle fight, and it was really really cool. I liked that a lot actually. Um, what else? The weapons themselves, uh, all the weapons are cool except for hammer. Hammer's fucking boring. Um, and I'll explain each weapon in brief detail.
Sure.
Katana is cool because obviously it's a chain sword. Like you
Just
you
Ave
can
Mario.
you can use it to hit the enemy multiple times. You can use your katakuri box spring anything to chain off of it and attack with it, and it's unique attack. It's different attacks per tool that you use. And you can also animation cancel while being creative with with your
Yeah.
tools, which is great. Now the bow is also interesting. You just plant stickies and then you detonate them. The basic building allows you to very quickly plant or detonate while looking really cool, and that's just neat. There really isn't much more to it, but it's still interesting to a degree. Nodachi, the great sword, is probably one of the craziest weapons out there. It's one of those weapons where when you try it, you're like, well, you're charging and you're attacking, sure, but there really isn't too much to it. But there's already tech that I've seen where you can have infinite stamina and constantly swing and just stun lock a boss until it dies in literally seconds, and if you have the right build.
I'm not
People
surprised to
people have
hear
already
this.
yeah, people have already made those kinds of things, and I've seen those, and I was like, "That's cool." Nodachi, at first, I was like, I don't really vibe with Nodachi too much, and then after giving it a go and then seeing, like, the building combos and everything, I was like, "Okay, that's way more fun than anything base Nodachi can get." Um, the what's the other one? What's another weapon?
Blade or Wagatsu?
The umbrella. Parry weapon is cool. Nice to be able to parry literally at any time as long as you have stamina.
Mhm.
It's very satisfying. I really, really enjoy the weapon. Uh, Building attacks are they're okay, they're cool, but the whole kit is just parrying everything and building up the meter and just hitting multiple times, building up the damage and using attacks that hit multiple times with the damage bonus that just let you do a lot of damage. You if you are good at parrying, you never lose stamina. Every time you parry, you actually get your stamina back. Like you get the exact amount you lost. So you just
Hmm.
get rewarded completely on being offensive, which is great. Um, what else is there? I'm
Uh,
leaving the mall for last.
yeah. You have staff.
The staff is cool, but I have a gripe with it where it it's cool only because ooh, flashy, interesting. The weapon morphs into something else, but the optimal way to play it, uh, and not just because it's an elitist way of thinking, it's also the way the game makes the weapon, is literally just morphing attacks. You're pressing a
Yes.
single button, and that is not fun. That is
No,
basically
I
the exact
I
same thing
agree.
as a normal
Y
attack.
For no amount of time do you stay in one form.
Yeah, and I think that that's very, very lackluster. It's disappointing. The attacks that you get, like the square and triangle attacks that you get with every single weapon form, some of them you can do like full range combos on that you can kind of mix and match between with and without morphing to other weapons. But the other side, you just only get one move, and it's like, what is the purpose of this? I'm doing nothing. So they want you to specifically just morph. And then they also want you to build constantly because using build attacks and landing set attacks builds 2 charges instead of
Yeah.
1 towards your meter. So you're
Yes.
literally just doing, again, one thing, one attack, which is
I
which is just like 2 buttons,
I
2
would go
buttons.
even further than that, to argue that, it's not even just about morphing, like, the whole thing is to get to level 3 charge, right? You're not level 3, you're full, you're max
Yeah,
charge,
level 8.
not just half, which I think is something that they said, like, you get the 2 big
Yeah.
swings, but that's really slow and with a lot of recovery. You wanna get to the max charge as fast as possible, hit
Yep.
that and start over again, and in order to do that, you are correct, you spend 0 time in any particular morph. You just
Yeah.
keep going, and there are absolute routes where you just hit morph, morph, morph,
Yep.
and like you don't do any attacks in there. It's just when the attack hits, it's automatically ready to shift.
Yep.
And the
And
game will
that
reward you for that, even in certain builds where you get more powerful with the different morphs, further
mhm.
incentivizing you away from playing around with the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 individual weapons that are a part of it.
It's not it really isn't that it's a great on paper weapon. That's all it is to me. I
That
don't
said, big
I think it's
numbers.
I think it's good. I think it's a cool weapon, but it's not fantastic by any means because it's heavily flawed. Because they like I love that I can have tonfa or whatever, bladed tonfa. I love that I can have a giant shuriken. I think that's so cool. But you know what I'm not seeing? That. Like I don't get to do full combos that lead into morph attacks that would build further bar than just one bar. It's like maybe if they allow you to so for here's we'll come back to it in a second. The next weapon, claw blade.
Yes.
Claw blade is probably is actually no, it's not probably. Claw blade is my favorite weapon, and not just because it's Attack on Titan. Ho ho. No, it's a weapon that is designed around doing animation cancels with and without your katakuri. It's designed where doing air attacks helps build your meter, and then you throw the chain on the boss, and then it allows you to do some insane air combos, spin around and chain those attacks together before animation canceling with your air jumps, and you just keep dancing around the boss and then doing a finisher attack when the stamina bar on the circle tied to the chain claw is almost empty.
Yeah.
And the way that it works is, as you keep landing attacks, your character builds a colored aura around them. And when it reaches red, then if you do the air finisher, like if you push triangle, you'll do a whole bunch of spins in one direction, and then you'll automatically turn around and then lock onto the target, and then use the finisher attack, and then you do a lot of damage. What they could have done with the staff is, if you wanted to be more um, more risky, more greedy, the game could have let you stay, or if you wanted to choose to stay in the form you are currently in with your staff, you could do a series of combos, and if you don't get hit, um, you will automatically just build up an aura of your own, and then when you morph, you build up more than just a single bar towards your charges. That would make more sense, because the entire time, all of your attacks just they just build up one charge, and that's only if you morph. And it's like, why? What's the purpose of doing normals then and heavies? There's just no purpose. And then if you wanted to, you could also, because you can animation cancel with Katakuri on like pretty much every weapon in the game.
Yes, it's crazy good.
Being able to build up an aura and then animation cancel your morph or your finisher to go into a Katakuri attack would also generate the additional pip that you get. So let's say, for example, of course you get 2 if you use any Katakuri and you land the attack. If you just morph without anything, you get 1. If you have the aura that I'm talking about, if you build it up to max, which is like the same color as like the claw blade where it becomes red, then if you use a morph attack when your aura is red without Katakuri combo, you just or whatever, you just morph and land the attack like normal. Instead of giving you 1 or 2, it would give you 3. But if you use a combo, it could give you like 5 or something, or 4. That's already half of the bar. And one would argue that while it is interesting, you would not like there's no purpose, because you'd have to be able to build that up very quickly. But counter argument is, then make the other forms of that weapon have a way to build up meter faster. Like there's a way where you should be able to also implement morphing into the weapon that you want to morph into, not being forced into a specific like static rotation where every time you press the button you will morph into the next weapon. While it is nice, it would be cooler and more intuitive and more into the combat, more active, to think about, maybe if I hold this button and then press another button together, it'll do a morph with this attack coming out at the same time, and also possibly give me an extra charge or something like that, like while being on the offensive. Little things like that. And like, I know it's hard to develop. Like, I'm not saying it's easy, but it's just one of those things where those ideas feel way more intuitive and more interesting to make the weapon a morphing weapon that has multiple weapons feel way more in tune with its own weapon style by being a jack of all trades, instead of just pressing a single button to just constantly morph. That's literally it. If that's the point, if that's the case, where that's how the weapon works, what's the point of morphing then? For that, I just stick to the weapon just having its one form, and then I just have the staff form, smack it around a little bit, build up the bar, and then when the bar is full, big greatsword time. That's what it feels like. It's just like masked behind, oh, I can morph into multiple weapons. So that's how it feels to me. It's still a very cool weapon. It's way more interesting than a few of the other weapons because of the idea behind it. It's incredible. But behind all that, it is very, very simplistic, and that's what makes it really, really unfortunate for me. However, it's still better than the fucking hammer.
We got one
Oh,
more
great.
weapon. We got one more weapon.
The
One more
hammer
weapon.
is the worst thing in that entire game. And at first I loved it. I really did. It was so cool to do like a jump attack and a vertical spin, but then I found out there's no reason to do it. There really isn't. You just do the ground attack, which is easy to do the full 3-hit combo.
Mm-hmm.
It does a lot of damage. You can animation cancel out of any form of that of those attacks if you're on the ground, and that allows you to just avoid anything. And at first, I didn't realize that you could animation cancel with the tools. But then seeing that, I was like, okay, that's neat. But then I saw the people who were using the weapon more in depth, and they were testing, and they're just like, yeah, there really isn't a reason to use the vertical spin or even the horizontal spin where you just hold the button down. There really isn't a reason because the 3-hit combo is still really convenient. Because where you would use the horizontal spin where you hold down R2, you have to spin pretty much to the max level to do to do like the last proper hit. And that wastes stamina. It's not worth doing all that, even if you could probably animation cancel, but it's also slower. And if you have a lot of stamina, there's no reason to spin all that time because then you get punished. The vertical air spin has no reason there's no reason to use it. It does less damage. It doesn't even look that cool. You can do a combo of a normal attack while you're in the air after wasting all of your stamina, which like it's the same thing like the other one. You waste your stamina to do it, so you can't really avoid a number of attacks in certain situations if you don't have Katakuri or something. And you can't animation cancel it while you're in the air. So it's like what's the purpose? The ground
That
attack,
is true. Yeah.
the standard square attack where you square R2, square R2, square, and that's it. That you can animation cancel any of those moves at any time. And since the spring has iframes and you can increase the iframes further and the distance further as you keep going further down the tree, the upgrade tree, you can just get out of any situation without any problems. And I've already done it. Like I've already experienced all that. I was like, this is literally all there is to it. I've already tested all the skills that would benefit from damage bonuses when you extend the hammer's length, the pole or whatever that extends on it. And it's not tied to just the air attack. It's literally tied to even just doing the standard square combo. And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
well, then genuinely, what is the purpose? It's already a completely flawed weapon that is extremely bare bones. And again, some might argue, well, yeah, it's supposed to be a bare bones weapon. It's one of the starting 5. Well, yeah, but you know what they give you that's way more intuitive and interesting and more iconic? The katana. You know what
Sure.
sounds cooler? The katana, the chain blade that lets you remove the buff at any time if you don't want to spend the whole bar. That lets you also animation cancel. It lets you also roll cancel out of certain attacks. That has more adaptability behind it. A hammer being able to extend is boring. There's nothing else to it. So that's why I hate the hammer. I loved it at the beginning because that was the first
Careful. The
weapon I
hammer
used.
bros are coming for you.
Whatever, man. They won't reach me if I just go sit on bow. I'll just shoot enough. I'll shoot enough stickies in the game that it'll lag the game because that's exactly what happens. If you tag a monster with enough stickies, each one of those stickies is its own unique like asset, and you can put your game into a slideshow if you shoot enough without
Oh,
detonating them.
wow. How
Yeah.
did that manage to get past testing? Interesting.
Like many other things, we'll talk about that later.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
Wait. We have one more weapon. All right, we have one more weapon. The hand
Oh
cannon.
yeah, the can. Oh man, that's a cool weapon.
Yeah, I love that weapon.
That weapon is fantastic. Very very cool self buffing system. Very very cool like risk reward play style. Very very
Mhm.
cool Katakuri combo. Like the glider and just raining down shots is really cool.
Yeah.
The gap closer shotgun blast is cool. Like a lot of those things are very 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 interesting and very fun. Placing down key fortifications or whatever to keep your ammo up, being able to drain to absorb all the key fortifications at any time from any position on the map is also great. So you never have to be near them, and it all happens at one time with one button combo. It's just very 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 convenient.
Giant
And
laser.
yeah, the laser beam is very satisfying and everything. Cannon is all around a very 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 fun and much better weapon in terms of like its idea and playstyle. It's much more intuitive than the bow. Because the bow is just sticky, blast, you're done. Sticky, detonate, you're done. That's all you do. Cannon is shoot, build up your heat gauge, shoot the fortification, hope you land the attack, get a buff on the
yeah.
fortification, drain it, then use the beam, blow it up. Then you can also use your created combos to do other unique things to get out of the way because you're a slow weapon
Mm-hmm.
user. Like it's a heavy weapon. Like it's a
Yeah.
lot more interesting by design than the bow is.
Yeah. Let me
Bow
tell
is
you,
pretty basic.
I like that when you go to aim the laser or whatever, you're not stuck at like a 180-degree angle. You can literally 360-degree your
Yeah, you
ass
can
to
aim
route.
whenever. Yeah,
Uh,
that's
uh,
really, really good.
I really hate that with what Monster Hunter's bow or whatever. You're like stuck in this like very narrow field of
Yeah,
vision to do the dragon killer.
Dragon Piercer. Yeah, that's like definitely awful.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know, man. The camps, being able to build your own camps, fantastic. Very, very cool. Building your own fortifications, very, very, very cool. Having a way to set up just mobility across the map is really interesting. It's very, very fun. And one other thing, going back to the very beginning of the good stuff, character creation, you can recreate your character at any time after you unlock
Yes,
the thing in
the
the tree
dragon mirror.
for free, including changing gender if you wanted to. You can just change literally everything without any issue, not being charged, nothing. And I'm like, this is great. This
Capcom?
is awesome.
Capcom?
Yeah,
Question mark?
I hope that they do that. I hope that Capcom does that because I think it's really fucking stupid that you can't change anything except for like your hair, just the things that that aren't as I guess intuitive or something for your character's design, like muscle mass or weight or anything like that. Like you just can't change that without having to pay money, and it's stupid. So mad props to Omega Force for allowing you to change your character for free, just to be anything at any
Mhm.
time, especially when the armor is the exact same, I believe, across both
I haven't
male
seen
female.
any difference.
Yeah, so it's very very nice that there's no major worry of but then the game has to adapt to morph the new that gear to the other character, and it's like okay, but I would still like that to be a thing. I would like Capcom to be able to do something similar where you remake your character or whatever, if you wanna change genders or something, and then the game just says, "Okay, we're gonna change the armor to be" like the flick of a switch kinda thing, like a trigger that changes it to be female or male respectively, depending on what you wanna change into. So that way you don't feel like you wanna make a separate another character of the opposite gender of from your first character so you can see all the gear for that, you know? Like, it just let people do it for free, and that's fine. But, yeah, that's a very, 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 very good thing that, that they that Omega Force allowed people to do for Wild Hearts.
Mhm.
I'm trying I think that's generally all the very at least off the top of my head, that's generally the very, very good things that I think are in that game. The game feels great to play. Like, it
When it
when you can
runs.
play it yeah, when you can play it, it run when it if you can get it to run 60, which is not not many people can really do that at the moment, uh, but when it can run 60, it runs great. It feels good to do all these combos and be creative and all that. I think that's really cool. So, yeah, I mean, that's pretty much
Um,
all I can think of.
I I I don't know if I like or dislike the way you do food in this game.
I don't
Um,
like it.
uh,
Same.
I don't like it
like
one bit.
I can I can take it. I mean, obviously, Monster Hunter has the better version of it, where you just walk up to a counter and be like, "Here, I want this."
Yep.
The
um,
only upside I will give it is that it persists through death.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, that is good. It persists through death. Also, uh, I generally enjoy. Man, I've never had to actually look at the time on a hunt. because you technically you are timed. I just never had to look at it. It was never a thing that I was like, oh my god, I can't. I have to get this
Yeah,
done.
we have actively gone after hunts that aren't the main hunt just because they were there, and still have plenty
Yeah.
of time to go after the main.
That would
target.
change at endgame for sure.
Enjoying the video? Remember to like and sub. Helps out the channel a bunch, and we're grateful for everyone we get.
Okay.
Would it? Okay, that's good to know.
You only
Alright.
get 20 minutes to hunt stuff in endgame, and they
Oh.
have a lot more health. A couple of them have new moves, and they hit way harder.
Okay. Okay.
But
That makes
I'll,
sense, I guess.
I'll get into the negatives of that later.
I'm trying. I'm racking my brain right now, trying to think. Yeah. You know what? I think we can move on to the bad. Okay. So I want to ask this question. All right. Is there
Mhm.
anything in this game that you view as bad, but is something you can live with playing it? It's just you wouldn't want it to see it again or whatever. But it's something that you're like I will just interact with this thing in this game. That is the bad is what I'm thinking, because the ugly is obviously the shit that we're like, oh my god, how did this even get into the game?
The food system.
The food system, okay,
I
that okay,
absolutely
I-
agree.
I
That's
can
fair.
deal with it. I don't mind eating my ingredients, but I don't care to pickle, to dry, I don't care for all that shit. Like
Okay, that makes sense.
if there was a pre-made way, like a way that says this is what this ingredient will give you if you pair it with this, or if it's just by itself and you put it
Yes.
through X specific processes, then this is the end result. If I can understand what that does and then just say, okay, game, set it all there and let it do its thing. I'll be back to go get it later. And here's all my
Mhm.
items. Get all of it to work. Then that's fine. But it doesn't exist. And also, I think it's really fucking stupid that when you want to dry items or whatever, it says put in the necessary ingredients. So
Mm,
5 of them will produce like 1 or 2
one,
or something like
yeah,
that. And I'm like,
yeah, it's too
this is
many,
fucking dumb. Yeah,
too
it
many.
asks, and all my stuff was upgraded fully. All of it was
Okay.
upgraded. Like, all my katakuri was completely upgraded. Everything was capped out, and all it really does is like speeds up the process, and I'm like, "This is, I mean, that's great. That's nice." I'm not gonna say it's awful because it's good that I don't have to wait as long, but also
Mm.
consider, what the hell am I making here?
Yeah,
What
I don't
is the end
understand
result?
how I don't understand how you can put up 5 pieces of meat and it turn into put 1 piece of dried meat or whatever. Dry,
Yeah.
drying meat they don't form together. All right. I've definitely dried some deer jerky, all right? All right, they don't form together.
Mhm.
So I never I didn't understand that. So yes, I can agree with that. That system honestly that feels like a system that could be patched to
It's
be
better on
better.
paper, man. That's a better on
Yeah.
paper
Yeah.
kind of system.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything that like I am okay to like interact with, I can deal with it, type of scenario.
Me
Um,
too.
mm,
Food is the only thing that comes to mind, at least immediately.
yeah. Uh,
Oh, I got one, and it's probably going to
okay.
be a bit controversial, even in this call. Having 6 base katakuri or 6 base,
Oh,
yeah,
four in
sorry.
your quick slot or whatever. So
Yeah.
you
Well,
get
yeah, four, and then 2 that you just don't have access to, despite not knowing what you're gonna need for all of. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of it.
No,
I think
that ain't controversial. I fucking hate it.
Yeah.
I think it's dumb that they give you 6 basic and they just, well, I get it, because if you have access to literally everything, it's like,
exactly. Yeah,
all right, a little bit too much. But also, it feels like a design oversight even in terms of like its lore, because you have a gauntlet that can do literally everything.
anything that you need.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's like, what's the purpose of, like, I guess their answer to it is like, for example, when you fight Amaterasu, the game tells you to specifically equip a combination
Yeah.
because
I was going to
you,
bring this up
yeah,
because
because
clearly you will need it.
yeah, and
But
it's also used. It's the combination is all like, well, not the combination of the two, but one of them is used in a cutscene after, and it's like, okay, well, at least you kind of give us a reason to switch to this, I suppose. But you also
Mhm.
like, you also never really needed it. But it's also stupid because, again, it's all in. It's a tool. It's your gauntlet. Like you can just create things. The idea is to be able to create stuff because you have what you need available to you. And if you want to be creative with the things that the game allows you to have, then you have that creativity. But then they take away some of said creativity because of a balance reason. And it's like
Yes.
the monsters already aren't that intuitive. They're just not. None of them
No,
are
they're
intuitive.
not. Yeah.
They're
Not
just they're glorified sandbags
Oh, we're
that
gonna get to
don't
that
do anything.
because that's not even gonna be in this like controversial section. I have some
Oh yeah, no,
feelings
it's not.
on, yeah.
Yeah.
But but yeah,
I
like I'm not good at that, and I think you hit the nail on the head for why like this is one of those things that I accept, but I definitely don't like. Like I
Yeah.
said, I play the staff because to be fair, I do like the level 8 charge ability. It's like
It's cool.
it's a true charge slash for the great sword. It gives me
Yeah.
the dopamine hit I need, and I haven't gotten around to making the claw blade yet. Genuinely, because I had a funny feeling from the beginning the claw blade was probably going to be the
Dude,
quote
it's so
unquote
much
best
fun.
weapon.
It's
Yeah,
so good. I love it.
but I wanted to test out the 6 different weapons at once, and as we've established, it's not.
The
But
Swiss Army knife.
yeah, but because of that, and because something you mentioned earlier, I need the spring on my bar.
Yep.
Like
True.
it's not a thing that I'm willing to not have.
He needs it on his bar so much that it infuriates me because
I'm so sorry because I'm
always
just
get
littering
stuck.
springs.
I always get stuck on his fucking springs and it because I barely use the springs. I'm gonna be honest here. All right.
Yeah.
I like to use a lot of the like structural fusion cardicary, like with the harpoon and the traps
Sure.
and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And playing the claw blade, I feel I can get around fast enough without needing a spring.
Yeah, you don't really use anything with claw blade.
Yeah.
You can. There are
Yeah.
shortcuts, but you don't really need it.
Yeah. No,
Most
I
thing
absolutely feel
I
like
do, I go to the monster, I jump, I hit it a bunch of times. I get my meter, and then I'm fucking twirling around. I'm like yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, and that is in stark contrast. Like I have to sit in there and like really, I feel like I'm gambling. I need to get to that next
Yeah, you
morph,
are.
and then if you're doing an attack, I need the spring. I need those iframes to get out. Otherwise, I'm gonna get hit every time. And I feel like this is a gripe that'll go away once I finally bite the bullet, make the claw blade. Like I said, I was going to literally at the beginning of the game.
Now, I'll be a little fair here. I didn't use the spring when using the cannon either. But I just kind of went into the I'm just a stationary fucking target, right?
The spring would have helped you a bit, I think, just to cancel out an
Yeah.
attack and make sure you're safe.
Yeah.
But something else that I'm only 50-50 on, and I think maybe I'm a bit more forgiving on this than a lot of other people will be. I don't love that you didn't have all the weapons at the beginning, but
Yeah.
it didn't take long to get them.
Yeah.
So I'm willing to deal with the fact that that's how it is. But going forward, I'd like it that we have the option after the tutorial to make whatever weapon we want.
It made
Yep.
sense for the canon. It made sense for the canon since that was a
Exactly.
story thing.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah,
a
yeah.
story thing specifically, but the other ones weren't. So
Yeah.
But yeah, no,
Alright.
I think everything else I have is just going to be me not pleased with some of the choices here.
All right, we're gonna get into the segment where we're all just gonna be completely shitting on this game. I'm gonna go ahead and talk about the elephant in the room. All right, this game needed 6 more months.
This game needed more than 6 more months, man.
Yeah,
It needed way more time.
This game runs like ass, and I heard that
Aw.
EA pushed Omega Force to get this game the fuck out. All right.
Yep.
And so obviously fuck EA for that. But this game, I mean, okay, so PS5. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and say I don't know if they did any updates for PS5 or whatever. It runs okay for me. All right.
They pushed out an update for PS5 at the same time that PC got theirs, which was the only more recent.
Yeah.
It runs okay. I have a hitch here or there in Minato, but usually nowhere else. I don't get 60 frames, which is a bummer because this game does not look good enough for it to not be 60 frames.
It
That
sure
is
doesn't.
that is genuinely true.
Sure
This
doesn't.
game,
Sure looks like
this
ass.
game, yeah, this game looks like ass sometimes, and there needs to be the frames need to be there.
Do you know what's really weird about you saying that though?
Yeah.
I've heard a lot of people praise both the aesthetic, which I think is fair,
That's
and
fine.
the graphics of this game.
No, the art
No.
direction for this game is great.
The art
The
direction
graphics
for the
for
game is what makes it look good.
Yeah,
And I
it's
think
the whole
that's
Elden
what's
Ring.
happening here.
It
It's
ain't
the whole-
the damn engine. I can tell
Exactly.
No,
Yes, it's just like Elden Ring. Elden Ring doesn't actually look great, but the artistic ideas behind what is done elevate it. And I wonder if that's actually what's happening. And I'm surprised that this game actually was able to get that as well.
Dude, I played that on PC. I'm not playing on PS5. That game, Wild Hearts, it just doesn't fucking run well. Constantly
Oh,
having
goodness,
issues.
no.
Looking at a specific monster can because of its detail can cause my frame rate to drop. And I've tested it. I've looked away from the monster, literally just turning my camera 180 degrees, and I get 60 FPS. And I look back at it, I get 30, if not less. And I'm like, this is, and
whoa.
that's sometimes. It's dependent on I don't know what. I'm like, what the fuck is happening here? This is stupid. Why is this happening? Changing any of the settings of the graphic settings does literally nothing except for adjusting your FPS cap. I can't if I set my FPS cap to 60, my CPU when I'm streaming can sometimes hit 100%. And I'm like, this is dumb.
Oh.
What is my GPU doing? Literally nothing. The game is a CPU hog. It's just a CPU game. And for whatever reason, it doesn't use all of your cores. And my computer is not an old computer, and it is not using outdated hardware. It is using a CPU that is more than good enough to run and even stream using the CPU encoding for every other game. But this one, because it's not optimized. And for whatever reason, changing the graphics settings doesn't change the CPU usage except for maybe shadows. Maybe. And not by much, like 5% or something. And I'm like, this is dumb. It already looks
Yeah.
like dog shit when I'm running on highest settings. If I change it to low, it's still going to look like shit. It's just going to look a little more smeared. And the lighting is worse. I look up at the sky. It is a flashbang every time I look up at the sky.
Yep.
It is a
That's
flare.
true.
It is a flare that is always beaming over around the corners and over over edges and things like that. And I'm like, this is actually hurting my eyes. I can't. It was giving me headaches. It was actually giving me headaches every day that I played it. And I was like, I don't really know what's going on. I don't know what's happening. I stopped playing it. I haven't really felt that since, except for when I have like the neck pains from sleeping or something. But it's not causing headaches. and it's just I literally cannot see the blue sky. I see white.
Oh,
And
God.
it's not, and it's like, yes, sure, some of them are clouds, obviously, but it's like, if I look at the sky long enough, the game will, after a while, will finally adjust the lighting, and I could be like, oh, that's a cloud. There's the blue sky right behind it. But then if I look back down and look back up, I blind myself again, and I can't see the blue anymore. And I'm like, what the fuck is happening with this goddamn game? I did a hunt with a boss that you haven't fought yet. And it doesn't move. It doesn't move where it charges up and it throws something and it gets big boom, whatever. I did it in a random hunt. I just joined somebody. It did the move, and after it did the move, my game had a weird issue. There was no hiccup or anything. It was still running fine in air quotes. But there was no like freeze or anything that caused it to happen. It did a move, and when the explosion went out, it caused that spot where the boss was standing when he did the move to flicker violently. I'm talking, if you have a history of seizures, of epileptic seizures, that would probably fucking kill you. It was that bad.
Oh, God.
And
no.
it was violent. It was very quick, and it also sometimes didn't do anything. I was like, oh, it stopped. Thank God. And then mid sentence, it came back, and I was like, oh my God. Like I don't have a history with it, but I felt like at the rate that was going, I could have had something. Like it could have hurt my head. So I had to close my eyes and attack wherever and hope that I could help my team kill the boss. And then when we killed it, it was still doing it. So I ran away and went out of that area where the boss was, and it stopped. But when I went closer to it, it happened again, and I was like, "What in the fuck
Wait,
is
is this a
this game
graphical
doing?"
glitch or is this intended?
No, it's a graphical glitch. That never happens. That was the
Oh,
first time
okay,
it's
okay,
ever
okay,
happened.
okay.
But
Ah, so weird.
the fact that it ever even did, I was like, "This is no, no. This cannot happen." Like, I hope that nobody experiences that. That is really, really bad. And nobody was gonna move from where the boss was. They probably didn't have the same issue. I was probably the one that had it, so they were attacking it when it wasn't moving. The boss was just like, "I'm gonna stay here and just keep swinging, attack right here," and I'm like, "Please, I can't stay over there." And after waiting like a whole minute, it did not move, and I was like, "Well, I guess I gotta go over there." And I ran over to the spot. I started attacking. I closed my eyes. I counted the amount of times I could hit. I dodged out the way and just hoped he didn't hit me. Opened my eyes. I squinted a little bit, so I peeked to see if anything was if it was still happening. It was still going crazy. I was like, close my eyes again, but I'm gonna go in this direction and keep attacking until I kill it. Like I had to do that for like an additional like almost 5 minutes until it finally died. And I was like, I'm getting out of here. I can't. I can't do it. And I I just oh my god, dude. Oh my god. I got some fucking words for that game, dude.
Mm.
The end game is shit. I'm just gonna tell you right now.
Okay.
The
Well,
end
let's move
game
on to that.
the end game is shit, dude. It is not every single monster is end game viable. Like only some of them are. To which they're adding, I believe they're adding some of the ones that don't exist into the game as free DLC, which it should have been in the base game. People who are, I know this is me trusting someone that I don't know on the internet, but some people were telling me that there were some people that were claiming to be disgruntled employees that were saying that they were really tired of the way that the game was being held up by EA when they were told to rush the game out, and then they were told that the game was supposed to have the the game was supposed to have this DLC to make it seem like the game had more coming out for free, but that was supposed to be in the game to begin with. But they had to rush it out. I was like,
Mhm.
I wouldn't be surprised to believe that because when you play it, you can actually see that some monsters that are in end game don't have that specific version that the other ones do, and it's like, why does this not have it? Um,
And you're talking about the volatile monsters now?
yes, yeah.
Okay.
There's volatiles, I think, for every type, but then there's deeply volatiles, and there's no deeply volatile for every single monster.
Interesting.
Not even the early ones have. Not every early monster is a deeply volatile. And I was like, what the fuck is this? Why why is this not a thing? What is going on here? The armors suck in this game. The
Yeah.
design wise, some of them are pretty cool, but
I agree.
a lot of them are fucking boring. A lot of them are also just recolors. In which, let's get into that. The die system sucks dick in this game.
I
There's
haven't
only
interacted with it yet. Yeah.
there's only like like 7 colors, and that's it. And I think the RGB slider thing. I can't remember, but I looked at it and I was like, this is awful. I'm closing this. I don't even care. I don't care if I look like a damn clown playing this game. I'm gonna get my best in slot stuff. I'm gonna make my build, and I'm gonna play the game and try it and see how the build is, and just enjoy that. Um, but the dying in the game sucks. The skills, the armor skills, and also weapon skills are mostly awful and
Yeah.
reused for a
Yeah.
number of
Yeah.
armor pieces.
Yeah, definitely.
The I will say, however, going back real quick, the good. It's interesting that there is a human and kimono path that allows you to
Mhm.
build towards specific armor combinations and have and unlock unique skills, to use to make yourself stronger or whatever, or support your team in air quotes support to some degree. Pretty cool, but it's still very bare bones, very limited. The weapon crafting. The tree in and of itself is fantastic. I think it's probably I think it's probably my favorite thing. Funny
Yeah.
enough, about the entire game is the weapon crafting tree because you can craft and go in literally any direction as long as you don't overlap the path
Yes.
that you took. And I think it's really cool that you can get a whole bunch of inherited skills and build some insane weapon and do some cool stuff with it, and then show people the build because of the path that you took. That is sick. However, same thing with the armor. They reuse the same skills for a lot of the weapons. And
Mhm.
there's also the tree is not big. Someone could tell me, if someone seriously thinks that the weapon tree in Wild Hearts is big, I ain't gonna be rude. I ain't gonna. I ain't.
They haven't
I
seen
ain't gonna.
like Final Fantasy X or
Again,
fucking what is it? What's that fucking online game? Path of Exile.
yeah.
They haven't seen big.
I just I'm not gonna say that the person who thinks it's a big tree in Wild Hearts has some problem or something, because that's mean. But I will say that they're just wrong, because especially when it's not unique. Like the skills themselves are not diverse.
Mhm.
There's a few good skills that are in there. Really really interesting skills. No weapon gauge spending in certain conditions, or speeding up the drain when you're in when they're more under those conditions, but you do more damage, or not wasting any stamina under certain conditions with a certain weapon. All of those exist, and they're really, really cool, and they seriously change up the playstyle and help a hell of a lot when you want to play a certain way. However, there's only like 4 per weapon. That's it. That's not much. And of course, there's only like a few bosses in the game. It's like what, 18, 20 bosses in the game or something like that, including subspecies. And that's not really awful, because I mean, all the other Monster Hunter games start with like
Yeah,
maybe 20, 25, 30 or
it's a
whatever.
limited roster with
Yeah,
subspecies.
especially because it's a new IP. It's a brand new IP, so it makes sense. However, this part just really ties into the fact that the game got rushed. It shouldn't have come out because there's barely anything to craft. There's so many people that I know that are like creators for like Monster Hunter and things like that, that are just like, all right, baby, I put in 100 hours, maybe even less. I did what I wanted to. I'm already done with the game, and I'm like,
And we're out.
yep,
Yeah.
yep, me too. And the end game is layered armor farming and talisman farming. That's it. The talismans are
Oh, I haven't updated my talisman in hours.
the
Oh my goodness, I forgot
talisman
about them.
the talismans aren't even that crazy. Like
Yeah.
sure you can. I mean, of course, like a couple of percentages add up over time in total when you get multiples of them or whatever. That's fine. However, consider you are already building a weapon that has like 60-70% of that skill on the talisman on the weapon alone. So at that point, when you're going for the talisman, yeah, that's just a personal. I want to be omega strong, like just for the heck of it. And it's like, okay, that's fine, I guess. But also, it's not something worth going for. The layered is something worth going for by comparison, because you don't get layered anywhere else other than the volatile stuff. But also, what's also really cool about this too is you have to craft the armor for the first. You have to actually craft the gear, not
Mhm.
the layer on its own. You have to. They require you to make the actual gear,
That is smart.
which is great because you're also getting the materials from those monsters anyway that are
Mhm.
used to craft the gear. That works. That's good design. Everything is working in tandem with each other to give you what you want. And if you're doing it in the end game fashion, where you're doing the volatiles and the like, you're going to be getting what you want. It just takes the grind. But also, that's it. For me personally, as someone who's played a billion of these freaking hunting games, I literally have no reason to go farm those volatiles. I don't care about the talismans. The weapon already does more than enough damage that can kill enemies in minutes, a couple of minutes, and it's fine. Um, the the layered armor, I don't really care, because I just don't like. I don't. I like some of the gear. Like I wouldn't mind using some of the layered, but also I genuinely don't care about the fact that I have to fight these volatiles and just get these specific items and then get a whole bunch of money, which there's a way to grind money in the game easily. You have to do a risky quest to get a whole bunch of money together, which is not like risky because you get one cart in 20 minutes or whatever I think it is.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
it's and that's not that crazy. Like once you get to like a decent piece of gear, like decent defense gear, you can do it no problem. No big deal. Especially if you do it in co-op, because you can revive people. So it's not like you get a little bit extra, a few extra chances because you have the down system instead of just carting immediately.
That
But
is true. That should have gone in the good. I do like
yeah,
that.
that is a good for sure. But yeah, like it's just you have that means that you have to do those other hunts to make money, which doesn't work with you doing the volatile that you want to fight to specifically get the material that you want for the layered armor. So you're going back and forth with these different things, which some would say, well, yeah, that's the point of the game, and I get that. But also, if I'm fighting something that's supposed to be a harder piece of content, I should be getting rewarded with something that's at least equivalent to the amount of money that I was getting for that other quest. Because the
Yeah.
deeply volatiles are one cart, 20-minute hunts too. So it's like what, and they also have brand new moves, new combination attacks. They hit harder. I should be getting more of the in-game currency for running the risk of trying to fight that thing, especially if I'm trying to go for layered. It should just be able to support itself. And it's like 7,000 or 5,000 gold per piece of layered art equipment for one set. And there's 4 or 5, was it 5 pieces of equipment? That's a lot of gold.
Hmm.
So it's
I
like,
don't.
I don't care about it.
I don't like how you don't get like gear specifically from the harder end game
Yep,
fights,
that
because
too.
at least in Monster Hunter you still there's still separate gear for them.
Yep. The augmented, like there's no augmentations in the game or whatever in Wild Hearts. I would have loved it if the weapons that you get in Wild Hearts could get further upgraded to something crazier when you hunt deeply volatiles. That means that I could work towards building something more interesting, or stronger, or anything, or even augmenting the armor. Because Lord knows there isn't brand new armor for that stuff for the deeply volatile hunts. It's just layered. It's all cosmetic, and it's like that's literally the end game. That means that anybody who wants to go for their piece of it, their layered set, will get it done in a short amount of time, and they'll never want to go. They won't care. They'll be done. They'll be like, okay,
Yeah.
what do I do next? Oh, talisman farming? Whatever. I don't care.
No.
Do it. Like that's exactly what the average player would want to do in a lot of cases. Not everybody, obviously, but like people who already don't play hunting games, or if they do, they don't play them for very long, and they say there isn't much to do, but they don't definitely do a whole bunch of the end game things, are 100% going to put down Wild Hearts way sooner. Also, fuck the game being $70 fucking.
Oh my goodness.
EA can
Yeah,
kiss my
yeah.
fucking ass for that. That's stupid. The game is not worth $70. The game in its current state, as of the end of February, is not worth even 50
No,
because it can't
it's
even
definitely
run.
40
The
bucks
game,
max.
Yeah, it is shocking it's that much.
the game can't run. The game for a lot of people, and it can't run for some, but the game can't run for a lot. The game doesn't look that great. As like a cherry on top for that, the game doesn't have a lot of content. Um, the game's end game specifically isn't even that rewarding. The enemies themselves are like just not interesting.
No, I
Only,
actually
only,
hate a lot of the kimono, honestly.
only like 4 of them are interesting, and that's just by well, some of them are interesting by like the idea of the design around them is
Mm.
cool, like what they can do, and then some of them have really cool looking moves where it's like, okay, that's actually sick looking. That matches what they're what type of monster that is. I think
Mhm.
that looks really awesome, and that's great. But again, in an already limited roster, that there's again like 4 of them that fit that bill, and it's like that's really bad. That's not good.
So
Uh,
we're all in agreement that Cobalt Lavaback is a piece of shit, right?
the monkey in general is dog shit.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Good.
Monkey in general is shitty. I fought him for the very first time on Hammer. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't
Yeah.
do the full combo. I was like, what is the purpose of this?
Kept
Oh,
disappearing.
someone was like, someone was like, well, you have to use the wall when he does the drop kick to stun him. So I watched somebody put the wall up whenever he did the drop kick. He went right through that fucking thing, and I was like, yeah,
Yep.
you wanna try to backseat and tell me what's correct this time, or are you just gonna feed me something that's also incorrect? You fucking moron! Like,
I think
don't
the
speak
only
about shit if you don't know.
the only wall thing that I'm aware of that works on at least Cobalt Lavaback is when he does that whole thing where he stretches his arms out and like then
Oh,
lunges
the
at him.
stretch arm
And
fire on, yeah.
yeah, I think you can do the counter wall, like the really quick one.
Oh, the shield
Um,
wall. Yeah.
yeah, I think you can use that one against it, but I don't think you can even use Bulwark against that one.
Yeah.
Um,
Here's the other thing that's really stupid. In the case of the combat for countering things,
mhm.
Um, I'm gonna spoil this. There is, I mean, well, you can also see it in the tree anyway if you just scroll down.
Oh,
The
you can
celestial
spoil stuff for us. by the
the
way.
celestial shield that you get for fighting one of the later bosses in the game,
Yeah. Yeah.
that thing breaks the game. Like
Oh yeah,
it
Terra used that on us. That was that
you-
orb, the
yeah,
Samus orb.
the green orb that protects you from damage. That thing protects you from damage. It can stun monsters like and knock them and like stagger them out of their attack out of their full combos. And you can run into it run into the gate that creates the shield multiple times. Like
Oh, I know why this exists though.
it's not a charge system. It's just a time system. So when you run through the shield and get it for the first time and then get hit, you can run right back into it, not even like 5 seconds later, and go get another one.
Okay, but
And
hear me
then
out.
you're fine.
There's a reason why that exists. I'm not. By the way, this is not me saying it's a good reason. So you've named a bunch of horrid things about the end game and the deeply volatiles, right? Too little time, too much too much health, and maybe too much damage. This feels to me anyway, after hearing it, like a band-aid because they play tested it too late and went, oh no, what did we do? All right, we need a way to cover for people who might run into issues and might just not be ready for the end game, even
Yeah.
with everything we've given them.
Yeah. I mean, we used me and one other person duoed all the deeply volatiles, and one of them, Gold Shard, Porcupine one or whatever whatever
Yeah.
the fuck the thing is. That thing is
Supersonic.
that thing is fucking stupid. That thing made me so livid fighting it because it moves so fast and combos its sweeps, its body checks into fast, like almost sucker punch Mach speed roll attacks. And I was like, "What the why? What is the what are they what were they thinking with this?" And then when my duo partner was fighting with me, they put down the celestial shield, and then it staggered the monster, and I was like, "Wait, really? Like we can just do that?" And then we tried it on the other ones, and it just kept working, and I was like, "This is a joke. Like this actually is a joke.
Yeah, it's
This
a band-aid
can't be real."
to a poorly designed end game, which is unfortunate.
It the combat in that game is so active and fun. It's really cool, but also everything with the things that you fight, just kind of ignore the shit that you do to them.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for saying that.
It's
My goodness, I desperately need them to not do that. I have a 3-hit finisher that needs to hit the third time. If you just decide to ignore my second hit and hit me, I'm screwed. I am one of the least damaging weapons in the game.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
Why
so,
would
like,
you do this to me?
They made the game they made the gameplay like super fast or whatever. Like, you know, your fighting is super fast, but then they also made the monsters super fast, like way faster than you'll ever be able to react to most of the time, and they ignore everything.
So I don't think the speed is actually a problem, and has only become a problem because, and hear me out, this camera is awful and needs to be pulled back further.
Oh my god, the FOV.
Oh, it's so bad.
It can fucking die. I hate it.
It's so bad. I know that they wanted as tight and as close as it is, so you can see your hunter. Because I know a lot of casual Monster Hunter folks, kind of they've had the same like thought on this. Is like, what's the point of getting all this armor and making a character if you never see it? And so this is a reaction to that.
What the
It's like,
fuck?
so we're gonna make sure that you're in screen, that you can see yourself and like a third of the monster.
That is the most bullshit excuse I've ever heard. You know what game? You know what game actually does it really, really well and lets you adjust it, not completely, but also lets you adjust it in general? Phantasy Star.
Yeah, true.
Ooh, you press the plus key or the minus key, and it zooms out and
Zooms in
zooms
and
in
out,
respectfully, and you can keep playing like that, like no problem. And it's like, well, that's cool. You know what else exists? Photo mode, where you can just take a picture of your character and zoom in and do poses, which they have in the game. And it's like, what the fuck?
I think that's what photo mode is mostly. Like, I think that's why photo mode exists in many games, because people are like, well, I never see my character. Fantastic. Now you have you can see your character, you can emote, you can roleplay, you can do whatever you want in this mode.
Yeah.
But yes, please let me change my field of view.
It
Please.
just
Yeah.
it just doesn't. That's also what was hurting. What was causing my headaches. The FLV, man. It's so. It doesn't make any. You can't, dude. I know you guys are playing on PS5. When I was playing
Mhm.
on PC, I might as well have been playing on fucking PS5 with how
Yeah.
limited the fucking options were in the
No,
graphical settings.
Absolutely. And besides, in order to play the game on PC, you'd have to have set all your settings to like some of the lowest possible standards anyway.
Yeah,
Yeah.
don't really do
So-
anything. Another thing that you guys want to experience, you have to install the EA Play or whatever app or whatever the fuck
Oh,
that thing
true.
is.
Boy, I'm happy I
Yeah,
didn't have to
true.
do
Fuck
that.
Yeah.
Well, when I launched the game on Steam, it just opens it up automatically, and I'm like, "What? Why?" And then it's like, "Oh, it failed to sync your save data," and I'm just like, "No, you didn't. Start the game anyway." And it doesn't fail to sync. It doesn't fail to sync the data. Like I've already tested it. It's still there. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. It's
That
so
reminds me.
fucking
I
stupid,
have
dude.
to uninstall EA Play because I played the 10-hour trial.
I'm
on-
uninstalling the game in general. I'm done with it for a while until that game gets fixes and those content updates so I can test things out kind of like all together. I ain't touching that game anymore. I put in over 100 hours of it. I stomached as much as I could. I could not stand my inputs not registering. I can't stand uh when you want to attack in a direction, if you do a 180, your character takes the long turn around. They don't do the snapshot 180 and then attack quickly behind them. They turn
Yeah.
slowly as you're
Yeah.
attacking. And I'm like, what is the purpose of a fast-paced action game if you're going to give me this kind of shit where you're making me slow down? It's the same thing that, and it's not exactly the exact same comparison, but it's the exact same kind of crap that I complained about with Monster Hunter World, in which what's the purpose of making these fucking animations pop up and look sparkly and pretty when I'm opening the damn menu, when every other game before it never did that? Well, I want to access my stuff quickly so I can get in, get out, and go back into the fucking hunt. It's designed to be faster, so it's not
Yeah.
in the way. And then when you design a game's combat to be all like that, all fast paced and very very reactive, and then you have your character churn in the most awkward ways that isn't helpful at all, and you're missing a lot of your attacks because they churn slowly. It's like, why? Why were you doing that? Yeah,
I-
the design decision aside, like I just don't like it. It's
Yeah.
uncomfortable.
I think it comes down to intention, and I think it is impossible for us to know this fact.
Of course.
Whether or not EA actually did rush them out. But we can say this game surely does feel unfinished and unrefined.
It definitely is not. Yeah, it definitely is not
Aw.
finished. It is most certainly not. If somebody
And-
calls this game refined, oh
No, yeah,
man,
exactly.
whew.
But
Get 'em
from
outta
a
here.
Yeah.
from a baseline, I think it's fair to say, and that this is not said with any malice or any like gatekeepy feeling. This was designed to bring in a new group of people that aren't normally like veterans to the hunter genre. It is faster, which is good in theory. It allows for a free flowing in and out of its core gameplay mechanics. Fantastic.
Yep.
And it does visually interesting things, which is 1000% how you're going to get in people that just aren't already interested. However, and not because of their willingness to bring in a new group, because of the scope of their ideas, they were unable to refine everything. And refining things in this genre of games is sort of the name of the game. I would have taken a game with slightly less monsters with a better overall feel. Just if it was
Mhm.
better optimized, if the monsters were better realized, if the gear that you got for them was just more plentiful. This is a complete game in the sense that you can play it start to finish, but
Mhm.
it is missing a lot. And whilst you can absolutely put some of that to this is their first go at it, sure.
It's not.
But yes, because of Token, I know. but a lot of people are going to defend Wild Hearts as nope, Wild Hearts is his own thing. So yeah, sure, you can use that as a bit of a crutch, saying this is the first real attempt that isn't just an obvious we
It's
want
their
to make a
world
cash grab.
attempt. It's their Monster Hunter world.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
But there
That's fine.
are things in the world that were produced either during this game's early development or before it during its pre-development that they could have looked at and used as a baseline that they did not.
You know what they could have? You know what they could have
I'm
done?
pretty sure.
This is what they could have done. This is what they could have done. Not use their own proprietary fucking engine. All right.
The Katana engine fucking sucks.
Pay EA.
It did them
pay
no favors.
not pay EA. Pay Epic whatever the fuck percentage that they want for a fucking video game. All right. Just pay them that. Use Unreal, like literally, just use fucking Unreal. Like I'm tired. I'm tired of these proprietary engines.
I don't know if
so shit.
Wolong is using the same engine, but I hear it's also running into issues that are probably engine related. So fair enough,
Dude.
I'm so tired of it. So tired of proprietary engines. All right.
At the end of everything, I would recommend people not get Wild Hearts. I
Yes.
don't.
Yeah.
Do not buy it for $70 fucking.
I think you have to wait for a deep cut sale.
Yeah, do not buy it for $60 fucking. 50? Okay, not that bad. That's all right. 50 is like
40 is the highest I'll go on a recommendation.
50 is like the cutting point for me at that for me at that point. But $70 is just no. That is that is the genuine ripoff.
Essentially, wait for that Steam summer sale. Ooh, that'll be the deep cut.
You know what you could do instead? For at least $10 cheaper, the price of what would be a normal video game.
Was it a World and Rise?
No, go buy Tokiden 2 instead.
Oh, don't recommend Tokiden over this. I don't recommend Tokiden. Just get Monster Hunter. Just play. No.
Go get Tokiden 2 instead. If you want something that has a similar experience, go get Tokiden 2. And the reason why I say that is the monsters react the exact same as the ones here in Wild Hearts. They react even better when you use the claw in Tokiden 2 because you can punish the fuck out of them and rip off their limbs and do other and it's very satisfying with the sound effect and the camera angles and the visuals and everything. It's very satisfying. It has 4-player co-op and not fucking 3.
I don't hate 4-player co-op.
I do. No, you don't.
I get it.
You don't rip out. You don't rip out. You don't change what shouldn't be changed. You just don't. You don't do it. Like
you don't fuck with tradition is what Sly would say. Sly would come in and say you don't fuck with tradition.
And that's true, but I think that they were looking again outside of the Monster Hunter genre for this one. I think they saw the success of Destiny.
They didn't have
player.
They didn't.
I agree. I agree. I definitely do.
It's crazy that you just don't do that. But people probably just fucking dealt with what D2 did because
I agree. Absolutely.
And I'm sure people complained about not being able to do with an even number of cooperative play or whatever outside of raid stuff. But it's for a hunting game, you don't do that. It's never been like that in any game.
By the way, I'll just go ahead and throw this out there. Tokiden's 4 players. So I don't know.
Yeah, that's what Lav is getting at. Is that this company has had 4 players before?
Not only that, but Tokiden 2 has more weapons. They're more interesting, and while it doesn't have something like Katakuri combinations and things like that, it has a much more focused combo system. There's nothing wrong with that because I
don't think that's necessarily a bad thing.
It's very, very satisfying, and you can also build using the Mitama system and the armor and stuff like that. You can build in so many different ways to either just be full offensive, tanky, supportive. I say this every time I talk to people about Tokiden 2. I use this example every time. I was using the gauntlets in Tokiden 2, and they're very slow weapons that build up in speed, but you can't move when you're doing that attack. So you have to commit to just smacking the shit out of the enemy for a long period of time, and it consumes stamina. In Tokiden 2, I was playing with a full party of friends. One of my friends used the chain whip, and she had a build that whenever she attacked her teammates, she would give them stamina. And it's a longer ranged weapon. So she's literally smacking the boss from a distance behind me, and hitting me at the same time, and I have literally infinite stamina with maximum attack speed, just beating the shit out of the boss, and I'm ripping off body parts no problem and doing insane damage. That's cool.
Tell
That's
you what,
actually
cool.
cool.
you are kinder to Tokiden than I am, so fair enough.
I'm telling you, man, that game takes time. Tokiden 2 takes time to really see what the kind of crazy shit you can do, but it also takes people to play with to see, because it is a much more party involved game than a solo involved game. And you can still make some cool solo involved stuff. In Tokiden 1, I did an infinite stamina build with like the katana or the naginata. I was literally in the air just keeping myself up and just doing air combos over and over and then repeating the air attack and just staying up in the air and then doing a finisher, building up attack speed, having infinite stamina. Like, you could do things like that since the first game, and I was like, "This is sick. This is actually cool." Sure, the bosses don't react to like everything you can do, just like in Wild Hearts, but when you incorporate Tokiden 2's claw system, ripping off the limbs, knocking them over, paralyzing them using Mitama and things like that, um, AoE healing your teammates, buffing them all, giving them all infinite stamina, or at least less, or no, it's less stamina consumption. There's no infinite in TNT 2, but being able to do all those things at whenever you want to by doing a button combination, just buff and just use the magic, that is way cooler. And I know that we talked about it earlier, saying, "Oh, the bosses in Wild Hearts don't react to your stuff." They don't when you're like doing those big hits and everything. Like there's like a lot of the bosses don't like just, "Oh God, oh that fucking hurt, Jesus Christ," when you do a big move. But thankfully, they do react to part breaks, and when you're using like karakuri, like if you use the pounder, a big ass fucking mallet.
Yes.
If you land it, the boss will flinch a little bit and be like, "Oh Jesus Christ, that hit hard," or things like
And
that.
the harpoon as well.
Yeah, yeah, and like we all definitely know it. Like when we're saying earlier, the bosses don't react. We definitely know that they fucking react to things like that. We're not fucking
Mhm.
blind or some shit. But when you're using your weapons, and the only main reason that you're actually probably able to stagger them where it feels natural is tied to break-offs, that
Yeah.
isn't that great, and you can get break-offs so easily in that game.
Yeah.
And once the break-offs are gone, that's it. Like, they're free to do whatever they want to until you bind them in place with karakuri and nothing else, and unless you do, like, a threshold thing, 'cause you can KO monsters in that game with
I've only
any
been able to do it to like 2 of them.
yeah, with you can KO monsters with any weapon, and you just have to hit them in the head, I think, enough times, and do like it's like a damage threshold that will make them be like, "Oh, Jesus Christ," and they just sit there doing nothing.
I
But
think
it's
I did a few
fucking
with the claw.
boring. It's so
Yeah.
awful. Like, you rarely ever see that because they'll probably die before you get the chance to do that.
Correct.
Yeah.
And one thing I will say that I like about this, which is, I mean, it's also a token thing, you can break tails and everything with any weapon in the game. It's not
Yeah.
you can do any part breaks with any weapon in the game. As long as you just do the right amount of damage in certain conditions, depending on the monster, you can get the breakoffs. That's great. That's awesome. But it's just, oh god, dude, just go buy Token 2. Like, if you got like, if you want a more interesting hunting experience and you wanna actually put in the effort, time to see just how cool the Mitama system is, how many there are, there's more Mitama in I feel like, and this probably is mostly exaggeration, but I would not be surprised if there are more Mitama in Tokiden 2 than there are armor sets in the entirety of Wild Hearts. Like, not kimono and human
Yeah.
paths. I mean, like,
Yeah.
Sure,
just
sure.
the armor.
Just base sets. Yeah.
Yeah, like, I would not be surprised, or if it's probably even matching that, which is crazy because there's Mitama and then there's armor sets in Tokiden 2. So it's like, you might as well just play Tokiden. It's not, yes, it's an old game. Like, it's like a, what, 2017, 2016 game,
2016,
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
but, like, it holds up really well. And people don't really have never really experienced it because it probably doesn't just fucking, like, it's not something that really kinda, like, it doesn't get their attention. Like, I mean, obviously, no one's gonna advertise the game anymore. It's an old game. But it's like, for a hunting game that lets you play with 4 people, has a whole bunch of options of weapon types, including builds from Itama and armor sets and everything for a whole bunch of skills, active abilities to buff your teammates, to punish the bosses, beat the crap out of them, and it has the demon arm, the demon claw thing, whatever, that you can rip off body parts and parry enemies or whatever with in certain conditions or some crap like that. Like, it is genuinely ahead. I feel like it was more ahead of its time than some of these other games that came out nowadays. But it's definitely a much more grounded experience than something like Wild Hearts because you can fucking fly everywhere in Wild Hearts. But Togeden 2 is still a fast-paced game. It's still a very good game. It has great cooperative play. It does have an end game, but I didn't get to play much of it. But when I played it, I was like, this was cool, and it was very simple and to the point, and it was fun, and it was a cool thing to experience. Um, Another thing that I don't like about Wild Hearts that I experienced, you would only experience this if you played Clawblade.
I play Callblade at the moment.
I have chased a boss that flies
Yeah.
up up to the sky outside
Same.
of the like the realm of the world. And it got to a point where if you chase the boss that high, I found out that they're invincible when they are that high up in the air. So you can't dunk them out of the sky, which is stupid. But what's funny is I've also dunked the monster who was in the sky, who was trying to go up pretty high up in the, like, they went up pretty high in the air, but they didn't hit that threshold to become invincible, right? What happened was when I dunked it, the boss immediately just flew like Mach 1 speed, went from up there to the ground level, staggered, and then tried to jump up again. I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me? You didn't even like accommodate to show them getting like being knocked down, and they're just like, oh shit, like in Monster, like you didn't do anything like that. Like it's just like it looks very janky. Like you made a weapon where you made a weapon that lets you attach yourself to any monster, and you can fly and chase them.
Yeah.
But they didn't have the boss react to that kind of stuff. That's kind of weird. It's a little
Also,
strange.
in the same vein as that, right? I hate that you cannot jump off a super high place and just land. You fucking die and you reset.
Yeah.
Like what the fuck's the point? All right,
Actually, yeah. What is the point? You don't. It doesn't count toward a cart. You just
no, it
fall.
doesn't. And I'm sitting here thinking like, it's like, okay, so that just forces people to always carry the fucking helicopter basic hierarchy? Okay.
Sure does.
Or the anchor. I think the anchor might help too, but it's still fucking stupid.
Yeah. But I'm just
Well, you would have had to have placed the anchor before falling off.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
I'm like, I've jumped from like the highest fucking place in Monster Hunter Rise and World or whatever, and fell all the way down, and my character just goes, all right,
Let's go to bed. I'll sleep it off. It's fine.
yeah, like
Little
what
breeze.
the I don't know why they like you don't even take damage, you just
Yeah, you
reset.
don't. Yeah, it's so fucking dumb. It makes
I think that was
no
an oversight.
sense.
I think that was actually an oversight. That they probably didn't get tested.
I hope, because jeez, dude, that makes that actually makes no sense.
Yeah.
It really doesn't make any sense. It's just there's just so much about it that it's like what the fuck, man. Like
And we're not saying this game is fucking horrible, all right? This game at its base, like it has like a good foundation of like this is like
got
some of the
ideas.
aspects. Yeah, it has wonderful ideas, and at some basic aspect where we're enjoying what we're playing or whatever. It's just there's just so much that is getting in the way of that.
Yep.
And it's just ridiculous. And then, hell, the first thing that gets in the way is $70 cost price. I understand companies are increasing the cost price to $70. It's okay, fuck, whatever. It's $10 more, but it's not a. There are $30 games that are infinitely more worth than this one.
Go buy Hi-Fi Rush.
Yeah, fuck. You don't even need to buy Hi-Fi. You don't even need to buy Hi-Fi Rush. Pay the $15 and get it on Game Pass.
Yeah, for real.
So, like, like, fuck.
It's just,
So yeah,
it's just So stupid, man. Like this.
Um,
When the game runs, when the game runs well, and you get to actually play it, you can see just how much fun it can be.
mhm.
Like it does have a lot of really cool things about it, but under no circumstance is it $70. Under no
Mhm.
circumstance is it $60. At the highest I think it could ever be is 50 in its current state. And
Yeah.
that is giving it a bit of a grace period because the game for a lot of people can't even fucking run properly,
Mhm.
regardless of how it looks.
Yeah, so
Just
if you're itching to play this game or whatever, and you really want to play this game, make sure
get
you
the
have a
10-hour
fucking
demo.
PS5. Or no, well, make sure you have a PS5.
Oh, that is what,
Because
like, if you have to have it.
yeah, if you have to have it, make sure you have a PS5 because I will never recommend PC version of this game. I will unless they come out with like so many like good optimization patches for this game.
I
I'll
don't know.
never
After that
recommend it on
first one,
PC.
I don't have high hopes. The first one seemed to actively make it worse for a lot of people. So, don't know. I hope this game gets a sequel. I hope that they take all of this criticism and they just make a banger. Because despite everything that was said, I want my Monster Hunter game and I want my other Monster Hunter game. I want my monster hunting
Yeah,
genre
it's
to
nice to have
succeed.
more options.
But
Here's
this one particularly just wasn't it. I
here's
don't
the
think.
big issue, all right, about about if EA pushed Omega Force to put this out, all right. It is not competing with a release of Monster Hunter, all right. We're on the ass end of Rise's updates. We get the last Rise update in April, all right. It
Yeah.
is not competing with anything. We're gonna have at least 6 months to a year before we maybe even get the next Monster Hunter.
Okay,
All right,
tinfoil hat. Tinfoil hat. What if what they didn't want to compete with was, and this seems ridiculous, but I have to ask it.
the
What if
last
they
title
didn't?
update.
No. What if they just didn't want to compete with the announcement of Monster Hunter Next, whatever it is?
I mean that's okay, but like,
No, it's not.
No, it's
That's a
yeah,
poor.
it's an awful reason. But
well,
like,
no, no,
I
I know it's
genuinely
a,
believe this is something that a bunch of executives said. We don't even want to compete with the hype cycle around our direct competition. Now,
well, here's
again,
the thing.
tinfoil hat. I have no idea if that's the case, but it
Yeah.
is a worry that like they
Well,
genuinely felt threatened.
here's what they need to realize: Monster Hunter players, people that like fucking love Monster hunting or whatever, they're gonna buy both. Let's be real here. All right.
Nowadays, true, but remember that wasn't always the case. Like, for
Yeah.
instance,
Well,
I have a super negative view of Tokiden. I do.
true.
I will openly admit this. I
Yeah.
have very few positive experiences with that game, and I will not buy it. Though I might be inclined to now because Lav. Still, point of fact is that wasn't always the case. And I
Yeah.
think with this newest generation, I think it's becoming more and more. And frankly, with a new name, and a lot of people not being nerdy like us and like knowing the background with Tokiden, I think that there really wasn't much of a worry. There wasn't much of a worry there. Realistically, I am, however, inclined to believe that people were making rash decisions.
Mm-hmm.
I, Wild Hearts just reminds me of of a world game. I feel like I feel like the devs that were working on Wild Hearts really were just like let's worldify a game. Let's just make and just go make it a brand new thing, a brand new IP instead of making a world version of Tokiden. Let's just make it a brand new IP. And uh, unfortunately, because of I guess the way that everything was directed and with EA or something, if that is the case, it didn't turn out well. But there is a lot of really cool things in there that can make up a great game. It is
Mhm.
very fun. It is actually a very good game in its core of pressing button and I do the thing and it looks cool and you can do cool things
Hmm.
with your stuff. It has all of that and that's what matters. Everything else that allows it to not work is the thing that makes it get in the way, and obviously
Mhm.
some of the other very particular gripes and the lack of content in general really doesn't have it has no longevity. It just doesn't. I I could log into the game right now. I have 2 achievements left. I got to assist in a hunt 5 times. I've done probably like 3 or 4. and I have to go down the full kimono path of armor and just get, I guess, like the bar all the way to the right side and just be in
I
kimono
did.
path.
I got that immediately.
I'll
Yeah.
have all the achievements after doing those two. I don't even care. I'm just gonna install the game. I just don't care. I'll do it later. I don't give a flying fuck about it. And I don't wanna start that game up. I don't wanna play it. I reached the goal that I wanted to reach. It wasn't really that satisfying either. Like it felt really just uncomfortable. And I was also told that at one point the devs were mentioning that, or someone was mentioning the devs were working on Togeden 3 specifically, and then I guess at some point in development they said, "Let's make a brand new IP instead." And to that I say, yeah, please go make Togeden 3. Like, like, and of course that is said with how I feel regarding everything wrong with Wild Hearts and everything, but also consider you do have a foundation of really cool things already built into that series, into that game. You're only 2 games in, and you could have worldified Togeden 2 and just called it Togeden 3, and you could have kept the Demon Arm, you could have kept all the Mitama, you could have kept all the current monsters that were in T2 and made new ones for T3 or something like that. Even if it was over time, paid DLC or otherwise, whatever the fuck you wanna do, I don't care. Just make Togeden 3. Bring all those Mitama. Bring all those weapon types. The fact that you can do something, I'm telling you, man, the creativity in and of itself with the Mitama system already makes it way more interesting than fucking Wild Hearts. It really does. And I hate to say that because when you play Wild Hearts, and even if you do or don't know much about Togeden 2, you're like, damn, really? No way. Wild Hearts has some really cool stuff you can do. But it's like, you know the creativity that you have with Wild Hearts? Uh, building things. You know what you don't get to unlock a lot of and build a lot around? The same exact said buildings. You have
Mhm.
6 Karakuri, you have a few combinations that just dunk monsters or prevent you from getting hurt, and then you can do combinations with your attacks to do 1 new additional attack. That's not, like, a lot of creativity, especially when you have that system that I explained of T2, where every weapon can have a unique build of being offensive, defensive, supportive, and everything, and debuffing and everything. You can even be a summoner in T2. Like, things like that exist, and you can I'm telling you, T2 has that weirdness that Monster Hunter games do, where it's like, "Imma make me a Mushroom Mancer, wide range
Let's
build,
go.
like, Imma just do that, but Imma eat all these mushrooms, scarf them all down, heal my teammates, buff them and everything, it's because I can." And I'm like, "That's cool." In T2, it's like I said, my friend would be like, "Imma make a build where I whip my teammates and hit the boss at the same time, and I give them all stamina back, and they can just go on the offensive and just beat the crap out of everything." Or, "Imma make all these buffs for all my teammates and also summon all these spirits and have them just do all these crazy cool move attacks and just do more damage and just chill in the back using a cannon or a bow or something and just hit the boss from a distance." Like, you can do all those things. Like, you just can't. And it's like, well, that's actually pretty sick. So I'm telling you, man, Token 2 takes time to understand how all those systems work. But when you can do that, and when you get people together that want to play the game and enjoy that together and make those same builds, they'll be like, "Damn, this is cool. Wow." It does take a while, which is the big downfall of it.
Sure.
But when you get to that point, the world opens up. You can just fight whatever the fuck you want to, beat the crap out of everything, and do that with your friends, and try out all sorts of different weird builds while farming all the gear in the game or something. Like, you can do a whole bunch of cool shit. So I just wish that Togeden 3 existed instead of Wild Hearts. Honestly, I really, really do. That demon arm was cool as hell. Parrying monsters with the demon arm, and you can use it on any weapon. That's the thing that I have a fucking problem with Wild Hearts. I wanted
Only
every
the
weapon.
Wagasa can counter, yeah.
Yeah, like only that thing can parry, and it feels great. And every other weapon you can is just roll, get out of the way, build something, Whoop-de-doo. And it's like, I get it that that you need that it needs to stand out, that the Wagasa has to stand out from everything else. But also making it stand out by making it the only thing that allows you survivability without the need of building. I will say this, even though the iframes of dodge rolls and Wild Hearts are pathetic easy. Dodge rolling in that game, dodge rolling through moves and sliding through moves is pathetic simple. Like, it is a joke with and without iframe extension skills. It is a joke how easy it is to get through things. So it's like there really is no purpose. Like I wish that every weapon just had some cool skill based. I can do this and be on the offensive, but also plant my ground here instead of, like using the spring to fly across the area or something like that. Like, I want more options of being able to have some satisfying kind of counterattacks with every weapon or anything like that. That's why I like Monster Hunter for what it is, or Rise for what it, or Sunbreak for what it is. Hammer can do the water strike, Switch Axe can counter, Longsword can counter, and all that. And everyone's just like, "Oh, that's just counter weapons of the game," and it's like, it's better that they have at least more than just the dodge roll option.
Yeah.
Like, it's satisfying when you do it. That's the point. It's if you are skilled enough, you can do it. And even if a lot of those may be really, really easy, like, the idea that you can do it means that you can still have some sort of satisfaction of, oh, I'm gonna get this shit right here. I'm gonna dunk it out of the sky or do whatever, and it's gonna be satisfying. That's the point. Not the fact that every weapon has counters. Dude, shut the fuck up. Like, the whole point is for it to look cool. Be fun and look cool when you do it, and the game does it. Wild Hearts, I'm telling you, man, Wagasa, when I was using it, was so satisfying. It was, it was like, it was like achieving a level of high I never thought possible. Because when you can just do all these multi-hitting attacks, while you can do it while you're in the air too, and someone's like, especially because the monsters don't fucking react to your moves unless you do like 1,000,000,000 damage and they finally get staggered for half a fucking second. When something attacks you mid-attack with your Wagasa, you're like, "Oh, okay, boom, parry," and then you go into the air even higher, and it's like, "Oh, why am I way up in the sky? All right, I'll use a dive attack, go right back down to the boss." They do a follow-up move. "Oh, you're gonna attack me while I'm doing a dive attack? Animation cancel, boom, parry," and then you hear the same sound effect, you go flying in the air again, and you're like, That's sick!" That kinda stuff is so cool, and you only get that with that one weapon. You don't get anything as rewarding and satisfying, that you don't get that same feeling with every other weapon, and that I feel is a problem.
Yeah.
While it is nice that yes, that is the identity of that one weapon, the weapon in and of itself should have had some other identity that wasn't tied to just it has more survivability. Like, and it just makes me sad that there's so much that could have been done here, and every other weapon gets the short end of the stick by comparison. It doesn't feel as great. So I don't know, man. I just
Yeah.
I just don't know.
We agree. I mean, we may have not gotten to the end of it, but we definitely see everything that you see.
Yeah, and I mean, I will. I'll get to the end, but this does kind of and has felt like a game that has an ending for me, whereas Monster Hunter feels like
Mm.
it just kind of keeps going on forever, and I eventually just crash out until the next one.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah. So, final verdict of this game is that don't buy it unless it's like on sale for a pretty steep price, or just buy Token in 2. Apparently.
Yeah. No, I
That's my favorite bit.
genuinely, I would take that bit to the fucking grave with me. I don't care. Like, I genuinely love Token 2. As experiencing the game with its co-op aspects and everything, and seeing all of those options of things you can build, like, it's just way more interesting. And that stuff existed since the first game. So someone couldn't even say, "Well, they had a second game to try it out." No, it's been around since the first one. They were ambitious with the first game, with the number of weapons and all those Mitama and everything and the different builds, and they let you do something very similar to what you can do in the second game, and then they just added the fucking demon hand thing for parrying and
Mhm.
ripping off body parts and shit, and it made it even cooler. So it's like, I don't know what to tell you guys. Like I don't know. I don't know what else I could say of this other than just go get Token 2. It's much more interesting. And that game is also fast paced in general. Like you sprint really fucking fast when you want to go from A to B and shit like that. Like you just go
Yeah.
zooming.
I've seen Sly play. Sly did a Token 2 stream like I think last year.
I was so sad that I think he has it on console. I wish that man would get it on fucking PC. I would play the fuck out of that game with him and help him just do a whole bunch of shit in it.
Yeah.
I had to
Sad that
I playing it in general sometimes.
Yeah, sad that Sly couldn't make it to this one because he hasn't played Wild Hearts enough to actually form an opinion on it. Because, well, as you've heard, game runs like ass, and he has no interest in playing a game that runs like ass. So
Yeah, I don't blame him at all. I was watching him play that game, and I was like, damn, a lot of his time was being spent in the settings of the game, and I was like, damn,
Mhm.
dude,
Yeah.
that's really unfortunate. So I don't know.
Well, I was gonna move it over to because we had some news about Final Fantasy 16, but we're actually 2 hours into this podcast, and I didn't expect maybe a little like 30 minutes less or whatever. But for everybody that wants to know, some Final Fantasy 16 news came out. A lot of people got to play the game, and there's a lot of content creators making made a bunch of stuff for it. So please go check that out. A lot of them are our friends. So
Some really cool stuff.
oh yeah, what are we doing this week, fam? What's the plan for this week?
This one was
Skyrim Duck
rerun.
Oh, sorry, go again.
please go. I was being silly.
Skyrim Duck Adventures.
The goodest boy.
Wo Long.
Go long. All right, yeah. I'm gonna download that demo. I'm gonna try it out.
It's so good. It's
I-
the new one that came out is way better than the first one.
Okay,
But-
good, because I had problems with that first one.
Yeah, some people were saying that they were having some issues running it on PC. When I played it, I did see some hitches here and there, but it was never like mid combat. Weirdly enough, it was just when I was already dead. I was like, that's strange, but it ran perfectly fine for me. Aside from that, like it didn't really inhibit anything for me. I was like, well, all right, I mean, it's playable and it's mostly 60, and I'm fine with that. Parry timings are way better.
Good.
But also alternatively, I think they made him too good because I would press that button way too early, and I'm like, oh shit, I fucked it up, and then it just worked, and I was like, all right, whatever.
Yeah,
cool,
okay, I'll take it.
sure. But I honestly hope they actually make that they tighten that a little bit more because it really is a little weird. It's way too weird.
I think they may have overcompensated for it because I think it was actually super tight in the first demo.
It was.
So I think they may have just overcompensated for it.
Mm-hmm.
No,
All
right, Dollar. Yeah. Dollar, what are you doing this week?
I don't know. I'll probably finish up this game and be done. But other than that, I don't know. Tune in next week to find out what I did.
I'm not sure. I still need to try the Sea of Stars demo on Switch. I hear that's pretty good.
Man, I want to try that too. Shit.
It's not from right here. It's not a very long demo or whatever. So I mean, you just take like maybe an hour or so out of your time to play it. I'm gonna try that. Definitely gonna try that. All right, I'll hook up my Switch again. Man, I don't know. I mean, I have Lego Star Wars to play. I need to remove a lot of stuff off my hard drives at the moment. Because I'm running on red at the moment. So it's I need to do some cleaning. I mean, I have too many games to play. I'm literally just waiting for the real video games to come out, like Resident Evil 4 remake, and Jedi Survivor. I'm waiting for the real video games. And then obviously, I mean, let's be real here. We all saw those videos for Final Fantasy 16 today, and we're sitting here like, can June come fast enough, please?
Oh yeah,
Please?
I'm firmly in the 16 waiting room. Firmly.
I need my other Yoshi P game, please. But yeah, I obviously, like Dallas said, tune in next week to figure out what I've played. It could be anything. Lav, thank you for coming on. It's a slightly short notice since I asked you like 2 days ago to come on.
It's fine. No problem. Sorry I was late.
Oh no, you're good. Yeah, like I said, it's actually more on me because I would have I should have messaged you earlier. I know. Okay, so we're gonna have to have a Rise retrospective after this next update comes out, and we'll see what everything's in it. I actually haven't played Rise since update 2, I think. So I haven't touched the new core, and I haven't touched Volcana yet. So, but I do. That's supposed to be in April that we get the last update. So we'll have to set up a time for you and Sly to come on to talk about Rise in general, and looking forward to whatever the next Monster Hunter game will be.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have and then Reverie comes out in July, so I need to make sure to get fast track Sly to get through these goddamn games. 'Cause I know you're gonna play them.
Yeah, I need to fucking hurry up.
Right?
He's been playing a whole bunch of other things that is not Trails of, and he's got like 5 games or some shit to go through or something.
Well, Azure comes out next month, or actually this month because it's March 1st for us on the East Coast right now. So I'm sure last time I talked to him, he said when Azure comes out, he's immediately going to play it. So I think he said he's going to day one it. Yeah, that is really good. So then he can go on to 4, and then he can fucking be ready for Reverie in June, or July. Yeah, July. Yeah. I mean, we'll definitely figure out those dates then. Again, thank you for coming on and being our Monster Hunter dude.
Hell yeah!
Thanks for having me.
No problem.
My throat's killing.
Yeah, I bet. Well, use your throat to tell everybody where they can find you.
Oh, the usual places. Twitch.tv/Lavren, and I have my YouTube, which I think you could actually just search Lavren on YouTube.
Yeah,
and
you can.
You should be able to just find me. No problem. Yeah. I have been uploading all of my VOD stuff just over time. I actually have every single VOD already scheduled and ready to be released. 2 episodes every single day until like March 9th. Currently, I've been going through all the Super Mario Odyssey playthrough that I had, so it's already like almost done with that entire playthrough. And that was me playing it for the first time. I absolutely fucking love that game.
It's good.
And then I have the Metroid Prime Remastered playthrough that's gonna start after that one's up after the Mario one ends, and that's all ready to go. My 100% playthrough of Prime Remastered, and after that, I mean, if I do end up actually getting the chance to play Wo Long, it'll be a whole bunch of that. Maybe I'll upload that to YouTube too, and then RE4, and the rest is history.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I'm excited.
Yeah, same. I'm ready for that RE4. I'm ready for that demo, actually.
Yeah.
It's supposed to come out sometime within the next 3 weeks, because fucking that game comes out in 3 weeks.
Yeah, for real.
So yeah.
March 7th.
Yeah, soon. Anyway, if listeners made it this far, you guys know what to do. Hit like, favorite, subscribe, comment, tell us we suck, tell us you disagree and you love Wild Hearts, please. All the comments.
Yeah.
Tell us why you love Wild Hearts.
At the end of the day, it's just opinions, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like what you like.
But yeah, we will see you guys next week. Thanks again, Lab, coming on.
Be good.
Bye.
Before you go, remember to like, comment, and sub to us. Not only does it help out the channel and let us know what you're into, but it also makes you 100% cooler than everybody else. I checked with Aqua. It's definitely true.